Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How is everybody doing? I am back indeed with live streams. I've been off these couple of days. I was actually in Portugal, so Nitsan. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it was really nice. Little weekend in Lisbon with my family and now we're back today, back with Roma. Italy out of the European Championship, unfortunately. I did film a video all about my impression, my opinion, and my overview on Italy's downfall in terms of football earlier today. So make sure to go watch that. It's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, very disappointed. Terrible embarrassment to this country, what those players did during this Euro 2024 in Germany. But look, Switzerland deserved it more. Fair play to Switzerland. And yeah, Italy are out. Who am I going to support now? Well, of course, the answer is very simple. There's only one team to support right now, and it's the last dance of Cristiano Ronaldo. So that's that. I do hope Portugal are going to win now that Italy are out, but I'm not sure if they are actually going to win. But how are we doing? It's been a while since I've had a little chat with you guys. So yeah, I mean, let me know how you're doing, how your summer holidays are proceeding, if your school is done, if you're still at work, still at college, university, do let me know all of that in the live chat. We've got some transfer news. We've got an official announcement today, this afternoon, from the Roma official pages. Buba Sangare is officially a new Roma player, young. He's a right back. He's very, very young, and a little interesting thing about there, which we're going to discuss in a second. Also Dybala. Unfortunately, the months of trauma have started for us Roma fans. Dybala's activation of the clause has officially activated today. Very, very low. But we've got a little update on Dybala as well. And then last but not least, Le Fée. Enzo Le Fée from Rennes. Deal is getting very closer. Roma have actually hired their bid towards Rennes. They're considering this player a massive priority for this summer. They've kind of seen in him the perfect identikit on the box-to-box midfielder that they need. Is he the only one that we need? No, I do think we need more than one midfielder, and that's something which I do want to discuss. But yeah, I will definitely give my little reaction on it. But yeah, if you haven't already, do hit the like. If you're glad I'm back, hit the like. Let me know your thoughts on today's rumors, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's start with Buba Sangare. Official statement: new Roma player, first signing of this summer. He came from Levante, from the second division of Spanish football. He's very, very young. In fact, he's even younger than me. And he's a left back. I find it interesting here. I find it interesting because I don't here. I was wrong with Matic. You remember this really well. I was wrong when we bought Matic. I never thought Matic was going to end up being a starting crucial piece to this team. Yes, the analogies are a bit different because Matic is very experienced. This guy is a kid. But I don't expect him to come here and start. I don't think anybody expects Buba Sangare to start games. I actually expect him to grow and make his way starting from the youth setup. But the interesting thing here is that we've actually announced him as if we bought him for the first team. I'm not sure what we want to do with him. I'm still a bit doubtful on what we are going to do with a player like Sangare. Not that he's not handy, because if this is the new project that we want to start, players like Sangare should be priorities. Absolutely nothing against it. However, I do think starting him immediately from the first team, it can be a big risk. He's very young. I do think a few little games with the youth setup and with the under-21 team might be beneficial for him. But yeah, the way we've announced him, the way the club has announced him, suggests to me that the club really wants to invest in him, really wants to kind of utilize him in many occasions as a first-team player as well. Because, players that we sign that then go and end up playing in the under-21s definitely don't get all the hype, all the announcement, all the clips on Instagram and all of that. So the way we've announced him suggests to me that he will be somebody that De Rossi and that Enzo Le Fée have looked into, and they actually see potential in starting him, starting from this season. I don't think it's going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy starting a 2007 player who isn't used to Italian football, massive jump up from his career. I don't think it's going to be easy to start him immediately. It's going to take time. But as I always say, when we buy these young players, a lot of the aid for his growth also comes from us fans, because we need to give this guy time. Like, I know that for somebody who isn't patient, the idea of starting this kid, Buba Sangare, as a starting left back can get wonky. You know, if you're somebody who's not patient, then you're like, I don't want him to start. We cannot possibly be starting with somebody who's younger than me as a starting left back. So if you're not patient, then I'm not going to say it's understandable, but it's probably tempting for you to go, why have we bought him? I don't want him near my pitch. But I would say, as always, that we need to give him time, because these are probably the type of signings that we are going to see happen more recurring in these recent years. You know, we are going to see these signings happen more and more if this is the direction we want to bring this team to. So we shouldn't be frightened. We shouldn't be scared. We should be ready to devote time and patience to him. So welcome to Buba, and wish him all the best. Now, of course, today Dybala's clause has been activated, and because it's the 1st of July, and with Dybala's clause being activated, a lot of players' contracts are actually over. A lot of players today are officially not Roma players anymore, from Rui Patricio to Lukaku to Spinazzola, Christensen, Renato Sanchez, Huijsen, and Christensen. Did I already say him? Yeah, all of these players are not, and Azmoun, are not, starting from today, are not officially Roma players anymore. Llorente as well. Now look, I would not have, I wouldn't have kept any of these players apart from two of them. Of course, I would have kept Lukaku, but if the price wouldn't have dropped, then Lukaku would have been impossible for our criteria. So I would have kept Lukaku, but look, I understand that the team doesn't want to spend a lot of money, and it's understandable. So yes, okay, I've placed my head around Lukaku. But I don't understand why we haven't bought or extended the loan of Llorente. I don't understand this. Again, as Fabrizio Romano said in a tweet, Roma want to rejuvenate. Roma want to clear out high wages. They want to lower the average age and all of that. So with that being said, okay, but I would have kept Llorente, because you need some experienced defenders, and Llorente was coming from some really good performances, mixed performances, but every time he played, he gave his best, scored a banger against Fiorentina. He never really was caught off guard. I would have kept Llorente. Again, a lot of people wouldn't have, but personally I would have kept Llorente. But a lot of players have left Roma officially today. Spinazzola, Rui Patricio both posted farewell posts. So yeah, it's a new cycle. Players go, bring new players in, and that's that. Dybala's clause is scary as every summer. I mean, being Roma fans, Dybala's clause scares us a lot. But what can we do about it? It's very low. Dybala is going to meet with Lina Soluku and Enzo Le Fée on Monday. On Monday, pre-season starts. Dybala will be back next Monday. Him, his agents, Lina and Gizulfi will have a meeting to speak about this new project that Roma want to start. And Dybala has said that he wants to stay at Roma for yet another season. So it'll be very interesting to see how this project will get described to him, placing in context probably the fact that yes, Dybala is a crucial player, but that Dybala will probably not be the center of the project anymore. That doesn't mean that Dybala won't be the center of the team. That's different. Dybala is the center of the team because he's the best player, most technical player, most talented player, and 99% of the players rely on Dybala to score goals and create chances. But in terms of the project, Dybala's no longer at the center of it. 2 years ago, last year, 3 years ago, Dybala, we were building the team around him. Now we've learned that it's not possible because he's injury prone, and we cannot possibly build a team around somebody who isn't the youngest and isn't the fittest. So I am very interested to see what Dybala says, what Dybala thinks, and how Dybala reacts to this. I've said this multiple times. I don't see Dybala stay at Roma for the next 10 years because it's not possible. I don't see Dybala stay at Roma for the next 5 years. I do see Dybala staying at Roma for the next 1-2 years, but I don't see Dybala. I just don't see Dybala being with us for longer than 1-2 years. Because starting a new project also means that we're probably not going to win anything for the next 2 years. I said this, I think we're going to win Europa League, but I mean league-wise and all of that, it's going to take time. And Dybala being not at the end of his career, but definitely at the peak of his career, would want to win his last trophy. So, yeah, very interested to see what happens with him. I am confident he's going to stay this season, even though this release clause is low. But on Monday, it's a crucial day for talks, meetings, and we'll see how this situation evolves. And then the last thing which I want to talk about is Enzo Le Fée from Rennes. Very interesting player. Now, I don't want to sound contradicting and controversial here. I don't know much about him. I don't, I'll be very honest. I hate the French league. You know me, I've said this multiple times. I don't like the French league, and I don't watch French league games. But this move makes sense because, as we've said many times, Gizulfi has spotted his eye on French talents. He comes from that league, he knows French players, French youth setups, and the culture of French football really well. So it's a deal which makes sense. It's been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano and Gianluca Di Marzio. Also Matteo Moretto. Roma and Enzo Le Fée have found an agreement, and Roma and Rennes are closing in on an agreement. It's getting closer. It's almost being found. Rennes are asking 20 million. Roma have hired their bid this morning to around 18 million. They're getting closer. He is going to become a new Roma player. I am convinced about this. The deal is happening. The agreement will happen very, very soon. I don't know much about him. I've seen and I've studied him a lot over these past hours. A lot of public opinion says he's a very interesting talent, which I'm actually very surprised about. A lot of people say he's interesting. I've seen videos, I've seen forums of French fans of football, Rennes, fan channels and Rennes talks, so I can practice my French a bit. And they do say that he's got an immense talent. But, there's a but. The last season, he barely ever played. Because he was injured. Now, I'm not sure if... Generally, people don't say he's an injury-prone player. But last season, he barely ever played. A lot of people say he's very, very good. Now, I don't base my opinion on what other people say. I don't base my opinion on a 2-minute YouTube clip showing all of his skills. No, I want to see him. I want to see full matches of him. But from what I have read, he's very ductile. Like, he's very versatile. He can play as a box-to-box. He can play as a holding mid. And that's very good because we need rotations. We need to build a strong midfield next season. It's so important. I've seen a few names being linked with us in these past hours, and I absolutely love them. Apart from Le Fée, this guy, Gabriel Sara from Norwich, he is unbelievable. Like if we can land that signing, I would absolutely love it. Gabriel Sara, Championship, Norwich, 16 goals, 12 assists in the Championship last year. That's the type of signing we need. Consistent. Now, is Le Fée consistent? I don't know. Last season he barely ever played. I do need to see more of him. He wants to leave Rennes. He had a bit of a chaos with the Rennes board. I've also read his story. It's a pretty sad story. I was reading his story and it basically said how he had a very rough childhood. Like his father abandoned him. He's got a very, very sad relationship with his father, who was an alcoholic, kind of toxic, and from there he kind of that flame in him coming from that turmoil in his family has inspired him to be where he is now. So very rough childhood. Interesting. He is waiting for us. He's young. I like these signings. Again, I would much rather get somebody I don't know about but has got good stats than somebody that maybe is a massive box office player and then barely ever plays. Yes, I agree. I want to do this. I'm definitely pending on that side. But yeah, we'll see what happens. The deal is getting closer. Gianluca Di Marzio was the first one to report this. Fabrizio Romano did confirm this, which means that there is definitely a deal happening behind the scenes. And the last thing to add about him is that Roma and Enzo Le Fée and De Rossi want him by next Monday, because he could be a vital place and he could be a vital player for next season in terms of the position he plays in. De Rossi and Enzo Le Fée are trying their best to get him in by next Monday from day one of preseason. And that's good. That's why we've hired. That's why we hired the bid this morning, because we want to get this agreement done so that we can have him on Monday, day one of preseason. Get to know the team, get to know the style, get to know the tactics, and get used to it, and get going. But yeah, I've seen some very interesting names being linked with us these past days. Not all of them are going to happen. A lot of them are bullshit. Yes, but the characteristic of players is interesting. Now again, the question here is, let's say we buy him. Let's say we buy Gabriel Sara. Let's say we buy that box-to-box midfielder that we need. Will Cristante still play ahead of these players? That's a good question. I personally, if we don't receive a good, interesting bid for Cristante, then Cristante is going to stay. And if Cristante stays, I do not see how De Rossi doesn't pick him. And I'm not saying De Rossi is right to pick him, because you know me, I like Cristante. I do think sometimes he's way too slow, makes so many mistakes. With Italy, he was absolutely horrific. But generally speaking, you know me, I like Cristante as the machine of this team. But Cristante shouldn't limit the development of other players and shouldn't restrict the game time that Bove, a potential Gabriel Sara or a potential Le Fée get. Because yes, Cristante can come handy in De Rossi's style, but it's also fair to say that Cristante isn't Zidane. And that Cristante, if Cristante manages to bench Gabriel Sara, Le Fée and Edoardo Bove, then these three players also have the right to potentially bench him. If you see what I mean. So this season, if we don't sell Cristante, I expect them to start. But I also expect the manager to drop him if he doesn't if he doesn't bring his level to a higher place. If you see what I mean. I'm not sure if that made sense. Because yeah, Cristante is a very monotone player. He's very slow. Very, very slow. We need somebody who's fast, agile. We need somebody who's got more rhythm than Cristante. So that's also interesting. I'm not saying we should sell Cristante, absolutely. But I'm saying that we should bench Cristante as well. And Cristante shouldn't only be the starting player in this team. Same discussion goes with Pellegrini. You know, as I always say, I support Roma. I don't support Player FC. Whoever gets picked, gets picked. I don't care. That's the decisions of the manager. Tough decisions, but that's what the manager's there to do. Whoever gets picked and needs to give it its all best. If somebody doesn't give its all best, then he should be dropped. Simple as that. So that's that. Italy were woeful indeed. I feel like Buba Sangare will be like Patrick Dorgu from Lecce. Interesting. Dorgu is more of a yeah. That's an interesting point. They could be similar. Yeah. When is the Serie fixtures revealed? They are out the 4th of July. 4th of July they're out. So yeah, we'll keep posted and see. The first game this season should be away from home because last year we played at home, right? Yeah. Last year we played at home against Salernitana and Lazio played away. So it's we switch every year. So this time round, game week 1 will be away from home. Cristante and Pellegrini woeful for Italy. Yeah. Look, everybody was woeful. This is kind of what I don't like. What I don't like is how every Italian fan. Now again, I'll be biased because I'm a Roma fan here. But I don't like how Italy lose a game and the scapegoats are Cristante, Pellegrini and Mancini. Because that's just bullshit. That's absolutely bullshit. Like, I cannot believe that Pellegrini is getting more shit than Di Lorenzo. I cannot believe that I read Pellegrini getting more hate than Di Lorenzo. Like, that is just the level of idiocy in this country. Everybody is equally to blame. Everybody, from Spalletti, the only players which saved themselves are Donnarumma and Calafiori. The rest, shit. But the fact that we were thrown out and that Italy was woeful does not mean that the scapegoats of everything here are Cristante, Mancini and Pellegrini. Because I've had enough of this. Everybody was shit. Jorginho was shit. Chiesa was shit. Which, again, isn't his fault because he played on the opposite side, but he was shit. Scamacca looked like fucking Joe Biden up front. Like, everybody was absolutely gobshite. And just pointing the finger to Pellegrini, Cristante and Mancini just because they betrayed Mourinho, it's idiotic. Right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, let me know your thoughts on today's topics. And I'll talk to you soon. No striker name for that moment. I think Kalimundo will be one of strikers. Ghisolfi wants him. At least this season, first game won't be against Salernitana. Yeah, indeed. Striker, I don't know. I think we're prioritizing midfielders over strikers right now. But we'll see how we move into this transfer window, which is officially open today. So starting from now, we can buy players. Yes. Right. Talk to you soon. And yeah, have a good evening. See you out.